Three, two, one. All right. And that's a big shout out to you guys because I know 100 subscribers might not seem like a lot, especially in the YouTube space or whatever, but honestly, I'm really stoked on it. And anyone who's ever watched a video, even if you didn't subscribe, or even if you watched it for 5 seconds, like, I appreciate it. And to slowly go up from 60 to 80 to 90 to 100 in like a matter of like weeks or whatever, like, is that's something that I'm personally like pretty stoked on. So in regards to that, I figure that I will let you guys off with a really juicy story from back in the day. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about the time that I almost caught a trafficking, and that's traffic with a K charge inside of rehab. Okay, so just get ready for it. All right. So this is going to take place, like a lot of my stories take place, when I was like 15. Okay, so I had been going to this after I got kicked out of school. I like was required to go to this like intensive outpatient, which I think they just call it that because you spend so much goddamn time there. Like literally, you're there from like 4 o'clock in the afternoon until like 8 o'clock at night, and then slowly like you go into the intermediate and then whatever, and you come less, and then finally you come like less and less until you're done. Okay, so like that was, but the thing is, and I'll speak on this 100 times over again, that kids that are like, 14, 15, 16, whatever, like, you're pretty much, if you're putting them into a rehab, you're basically putting them into a jail. Like, you know how people go to jail and they come out as a better criminal, or they think they're a better criminal, but they think like, oh, okay, well, next time I do something, I got to do it like that or whatever. Like, it works the same way in rehab, honestly. Like, you meet these people that you don't know, and like, I was there for weed and like ecstasy. Like, that was like basically, I didn't even drink. But then all of a sudden I like started talking to people, and these people are from like all around the area, which one of the areas was Palos Verdes, which is a very, very, very prominent city that is in the vicinity of like my area. So like there would be kids from there, they're from different parts of Torrance, from Redondo, like all like a smorgasbord of people. Okay, so there was a kid that was there, and I can still remember his name, and I'll say it. I don't give a fuck. His name was Trevor. Okay, and he went to PV, and like there's basically a like a, I don't know if it's an unsaid thing because people say it all the time, but PV kids have money. Like, where you are in the world, imagine like the city where like people have like just like money and like shit, like there has to be a place that you can think of that, like, it feels like they're looking down upon you, or that they're better than you or something. Okay, so regardless, like, those were the kind of people that I love, those kind of people, because that meant that they had a fat stack of cash to spend. So I had been like, I'd been at this rehab for shit. I was there for 6 or 9 months. I can't remember which one. But while I was there, I like was like talking to people and stuff, and like I'm getting told about stuff that like I don't even know about. Like, I'm getting told about like oxy and like fucking Dilaudid and like all this shit that like I had never even heard of, you know? So like it just goes to show that like, you know, like I wouldn't have, I mean, granted, later on I would have found out about all that shit, but at 15, that's probably not the best time to find out about that stuff. Because I remember this Trevor kid came into the class one day and he was so fucked up. Like, he was so fucked up and it was so obvious, like, just gone. And I asked him, like, what he was on, and he told me, like, some pill, like, hydromorphone something, like shit that I was like, it sounded like three drugs put together. Like, it was really weird. So I started like, you know, like asking about this and that and this and that, you know. And there was a time where actually this can be a whole another story, but the first time that I ever did acid, I actually did a deal with this kid where he gave me $500 and I went to my person and I got him $500 worth of coke. So like just shit like that, like they have money to blow like that. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Okay? So basically, like, you know, me and him, like I got his number, you know, and we're texting and like, you know, like I'm not thinking about like people going through like people's shit, you know, especially their phones, because like that's never happened to me. So all of a sudden I come in one day and I get pulled aside. I get pulled aside into this like office type place, and I see the kid, and I see his mom, and I see his dad all sitting in this room, and I was like, oh fuck. So what happened was they went through his phone and they saw all of our talks about jars and boats and just things that I like, you know, obviously when you're talking about it in a money capacity, like, you know, it's not going to really do shit, but like I tried at least, you know, I wasn't just like, hey, pills, hey, whatever, but you know, it doesn't matter. So like there were pages and pages and pages of our conversations, and you got to remember this was back in like 2008 or something. I had a flip phone at the time. So like you can imagine. I mean, I know the iPhone came out whenever, but like I was rocking the flip phone, okay? So they printed out all these messages and they did not make me look good at all. And for me, I thought like dumb old me, I mean dumb young me, I thought that because I wasn't the one that was directly involved, I thought I was fine. Like I had no idea that trafficking was a thing because I'd been doing that my entire fucking life. Like if someone needs something and I know someone that has it, then I feel like I can help both parties where put some money in someone's pocket and someone else gets what they wanted. Like, you know, I've been doing that for like literally years. So I never thought of that as doing something like illegal or nefarious or whatever. So I come into the room and they're pretty much just putting me on blast, saying like, you know, like we're in a rehabilitation um, like facility, and you know we don't take kindly to no, but they were saying like we don't like it when people are here, like, you know, we're trying to get people clean, and it doesn't help when there's somebody here that's like basically like the rehab drug dealer, you know. And I once again I was like, hey, look, I'm not dealing drugs, like I'm just sending people phone numbers and whatever, like, you know, I'm lining stuff up, but my hands aren't touching anything really except for the coke that one time. And I was on acid too. That was the first time I took acid. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but it was a really hectic day. Like I had to drop off some money to my homie that fronted me some weed. All of this while I was on my first acid trip. Like it was fuck, it was a lot. That could be a whole nother story on its own. Okay. So what happened was they're just like going through page after page after page. They're just reading it, just like blah 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 jars, blah 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 boats, blah 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 money, blah 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 whatever. So what ends up happening is, and with the PV kids and the PV people, like they're just snobs. Like they're snobby ass people. I've never met like a cool person from PV. So like I'm sure they looked at it like it was all my fault. When in reality, this dude is fucking hitting me up, texting me all this stuff. But they're probably like, that Torrance kid, blah, 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 whatever. So what ended up happening is they told my dad to go through my text messages every single day. Every single day, they wanted my dad to go through my text messages. And like I'd probably be in jail right now if if that happened. But what ended up happening is when my dad like kind of inquired about it, they he was told that you need a court order to go through someone's phone like that, like to get the records from it or whatever. And I don't know if he was lying because he just didn't want to do it, which I totally understand. But at the very in the long run, like he just said, like, yo, like I'm not gonna do that. Like I'm not gonna do that. So I I was able to, by the skin of my teeth. I feel like I say that all the time in my stories just because I come so close. But obviously, I stopped doing business with that kid. And, like, I ended up finishing my program and getting out and not learning a damn thing except more drugs, more connections, more money. Just it was just the total opposite of what you would want for your kid. I don't have any kids, but I wouldn't want them in that like predicament. So that's the story of how I almost got a trafficking charge when I was 15 at a rehab that was in or an outpatient rehab. But regardless, it's just the matter is you don't sleep there. Like you go home at night and sleep, and then you go to school, and then you go to the program, and then you come home, sleep, do it all over again for like 6 9 months. So that's the story. Once again, shout out to all you guys. Seriously, like when I saw that 100 mark, I was so stoked. Like I I can't even put it into words. And people will say, "Oh, it's just 100, blah blah blah." But like, I'm a very like I'm not. I'm a very sentimental person, and just the fact that it could get there, I could get no more. Like I could get literally stay at 100 or whatever, but I'm still pretty stoked on it. So, regardless, I hope you guys keep watching, and I hope you guys keep listening. And if you feel like subscribing, I would mad appreciate it. And if not, then that's cool too. Like, there's no pressure on anything. So, anyways, I hope you guys are having a nice Sunday, and I will talk to you later. Peace.